Most people will never reach their full potential. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because of something happening inside their brain right now that nobody ever warned them about. Something quiet, something invisible, something that does not announce itself until the damage is already done. And the most unsettling part is this. The people it is happening to most severely are often the ones who consider themselves the most productive, the most driven, the most dedicated to their own growth. They are busy, they are working, they are consuming information constantly, and their brains are quietly getting weaker with every passing day. This video is about why that is happening and what you can actually do about it. Let us start with the most important thing most people do not understand about the human brain. Your brain is not fixed. It never was. The brain operates on a principle called neuroplasticity. Your brain physically rewires itself based on what you repeatedly do, think, and consume. Every habit you maintain, every pattern of thought you repeat, these things are not just passing through your brain. They are changing it. Structurally, at the level of neurons and synapses and the physical connections between them. When you repeatedly practice a skill, the neural pathways associated with that skill become stronger and faster. When you repeatedly avoid a type of thinking, those pathways begin to weaken. Your brain is a living dynamic organ being sculpted every single day by how you use it, whether you are paying attention to the process or not. And here is where this becomes genuinely alarming. We now live in an environment that was not designed for your brain. It was designed to exploit it. The digital world most of us spend the majority of our waking hours inside has been engineered to capture your attention, keep it hooked, and make your brain dependent on constant stimulation. And it is extraordinarily good at doing exactly that. The result is a generation of people whose brains are being quietly reshaped in ways that make sustained focus, deep thinking, and independent reasoning progressively harder to access. Not because they are unintelligent, because they are being outplayed by systems specifically designed to target the brain's most fundamental vulnerabilities. Here is exactly what is being destroyed and why. The first thing being systematically taken from you is your attention span. Attention is not just a preference, it is a cognitive muscle. When you fragment your attention constantly, switching between stimuli every few seconds, you are training your brain to be incapable of staying with anything. Every time you watch a short video, your brain receives a dopamine hit. Not because the content is valuable, because it is novel, fast, and requires no effort. Your brain registers this as a reward and begins demanding more of it. The threshold for stimulation rises. Longer content begins to feel slow. Reading begins to feel tedious. Deep thinking begins to feel physically uncomfortable. And your capacity for the kind of sustained, focused thought that produces real intelligence begins to quietly disappear. Research found that the average human attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds by 2015. A goldfish has an attention span of, and the technology has become significantly more sophisticated since 2015. Every meaningful cognitive achievement in human history required sustained attention. An 8-second attention span does not just make you less productive. It makes certain categories of thinking functionally inaccessible. The second thing being destroyed is your memory. We now have access to more information than any human being in history. Any fact is available in 3 seconds, and so we have stopped holding things in our own minds. But here is what the neuroscience reveals. Memory is not just storage. Memory is the raw material of thought. The ability to reason about complex problems, draw connections between ideas, and generate original insights depends entirely on having a rich internal library of knowledge your brain can access and recombine without external assistance. When you outsource memory to devices, you are not just saving effort. You are starving the cognitive processes that depend on internal knowledge to function, and sleep deprivation is making this dramatically worse. During deep sleep, your brain performs memory consolidation. The hippocampus transfers the day's learning into long-term storage. This process cannot be rushed. It only happens during sleep. When you consistently sleep less than 7 hours, you are not just feeling tired. You are preventing your brain from completing the biological process that converts experience into permanent learning. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker found that sleeping 6 hours a night for 2 weeks produces cognitive impairment equivalent to being awake for 24 hours straight. And the people experiencing this impairment consistently rate themselves as functioning fine. Because one of the first things sleep deprivation destroys is your ability to accurately assess your own level of impairment. The third thing being destroyed is your capacity for deep thinking. Deep thinking is a specific cognitive state that requires one thing above everything else: uninterrupted time. The average person today is interrupted or self-interrupts every 3 to 5 minutes. Research shows it takes 23 minutes to return to full cognitive capacity after each interruption. If you are interrupting yourself every 3 to 5 minutes, you are spending your entire cognitive day in a permanently fragmented state, never fully present, never accessing the deeper levels of thinking where the most valuable work happens. And the most damaging interruption is the one you choose voluntarily: reaching for your phone. Every time you reach for it out of habit or the discomfort of a moment of silence, you are reinforcing a pattern that makes solitude, stillness, and sustained thought feel increasingly impossible. Your brain is being reshaped daily by an environment built to exploit it. Your attention is being fragmented. Your memory is being outsourced and underconsolidated. Your capacity for deep thought is being crowded out by constant stimulation. But here's what makes all of this different from permanent damage. Neuroplasticity works in both directions. Every time you choose to read instead of scroll, you are rebuilding attention. Every time you sit with a difficult problem instead of immediately searching for the answer, you are strengthening independent reasoning. Every time you protect your sleep, you are giving your brain the biological conditions it needs to restore full cognitive capacity. Every time you create a distraction-free environment and commit to focused work, you are training the exact cognitive muscles the modern world is systematically trying to atrophy. Your brain responds to what you give it. This is not motivational language. The brain you have tomorrow is being determined by the choices you make today, cumulatively, consistently, and with a precision that the research makes undeniable. Your brain is not your destiny. It is your responsibility, and it responds to exactly what you give it. Nothing more, nothing less. Subscribe, because every week on this channel, we go deeper into what your brain is actually capable of when you stop letting the world decide how it works.